What is up, my warriors, and welcome back to another video. And today I've got a quick one for you, but something that I think you might find useful, and that is I'm going to share with you my daily stretching routine. This isn't a routine in the sense that we might have usually on this channel, in which we're going to set 20 minutes aside for stretching, but instead it's more of a grease the groove. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you 5 stretches that I do every single day. These aren't always the only things that I do every day, but these are the 5 that are consistent. So without further ado, let's jump into it. I'm going to present this one in a somewhat chronological order if we're thinking about the day as a whole. So there's certain stretches that I'll do at the beginning of the day or during the day, and then certain ones that I do at the end of the day. So let's kick things off with the first one, and that is hanging. Hanging is, I think, one of the best things that you can get into the habit of doing, and it's such a simple one to do. Hanging provides a really fantastic decompression of the spine, but it also gets us with our arms overhead, stretching out the lats, the pecs, and a lot of other muscles that get kind of chronically tight. 20, 30 seconds, doesn't really matter. Hang until it feels good. Ultimately, I spend a lot of my day sat at a desk working, much like everyone else. So I like to break up my day-to-day working by doing some hanging in and out when I'm taking some breaks. Again, it's one of those ones that just feels good. You can do it supinated, you can do it neutral, you can do it pronated, or any combination of the 3. If you're a person that does find that hanging can be sometimes painful, I would suggest trying to hang in a supinated position, as this will help externally rotate the arms and create some space in the shoulder joint, which should reduce that likelihood of impingement and pain which some people get. Obviously, if you experience continuous pain with hanging, probably worth seeing a professional and getting that one checked out. Right, and number 2, the next stretch, and again, I use this in much the same way as hanging in my kind of daily routine, and that's what I'm going to refer to as a static posture hold. So I've actually got an entire video on this drill, and I'll link to that one down below for more info, but essentially you're going to stand with your arms held in extension behind you, and you're going to think about rolling the shoulder blades back and also down, trying to use your traps, that mid back, to pinch your shoulder blades together. You can do this in a variety of positions, and there's many in which you can play with. I'm just going to demo a few here. Give any of the ones I'm demoing in this video a go. You might find that they feel good and you like them. Ultimately, there's no one size fits all with this one. But what this does is it gets those muscles firing in that mid back. It does give you a little bit of a stretch over the chest, over the biceps. And again, it's one of those ones that just feels good. And sometimes I think if something feels good, it's probably doing some good as well, and there's no harm in adding it in. The next 3 are kind of 3 relaxed stretches that I like to do in the evening, sometimes before bed. Sometimes I'll do it as a cool down after training. Again, it'll be more towards the end of the day, and the focus is on relaxing into a stretch position for some flexibility gains, but also that relaxation element. The first stretch is one of my all-time favorite stretches, and that is the posterior hip capsule stretch. I've actually covered, again, this one in an entire video by itself entitled The Best Glute Stretch, and that's because it genuinely is. It feels amazing, and it's one of those ones that can be done at pretty much any level. Even if you're pretty tight or pretty flexible, you should feel a stretch in this position. If you don't feel a stretch, you probably don't need to be stretching it. But either way, it's one of those nice ones, especially if we sit a lot on the day. It's quite common for that posterior hip capsule to become tight, and getting you into this pretzel-like position will give you a good stretch over that hip capsule, but it also has an element of spinal rotation as well. For this one, I like to just sit and hold for about 120 seconds, 2 minutes or so. Again, I'll probably just sit here until it feels good or until the stretch kind of eases off a bit, and then I'll swap to the other side. The goal here would be to get that shoulder down towards the ground and deeper into the stretched position. So that's a nice relaxed stretch for the hips. Next, I've got for you is a relaxed stretch for the hamstrings and also the adductors, and that is in a supported pancake position. This is performed in a similar manner to that posterior hip capsule stretch, where we're going to sit in a position for a long period of time. So that position does need to be comfortable. It's not about maxing out that range of motion. It's about feeling that that stretch reflex is going to dissipate slightly in this position. For this stretch, it is going to depend on you, the individual. I personally like to do this lying on the floor with a bolster or some cushions beneath me. This one works really nicely if you have some external load on your back. So if you grab a dog, a partner, or some heavy object that you can place on your back. Because the chest is supported, we're not going to be actually having to resist going deeper into the stretch, but instead we can be pinned down and just focus on trying to relax it. The more advanced person will be on the floor in the position that I'm doing, but you can also perform this one just sat on your sofa with legs bent and your chest supported. The main thing is that you set this up in a way that is relatively comfortable for you, something that you can sit in and you're not squirming about and moving out of, so you can focus on just relaxing. The third and final stretch is a hero's pose. Now again, there's many different ways we can set this up, and it's kind of the reverse of the supported pancake position. Instead of this time focusing on hamstrings and adductors, this one's gonna open up our quads and our hip flexors and our abdominals as well. I've actually done an entire video on this particular drill because I love it so much. So again, I'll link that one down below. My personal favorite way of setting this one up is with my hips supported on, say, a bolster. Again, just that slight elevation, and then leaning back over the edge of a sofa or the edge of a bed or something, just to kind of raise up the chest. So it's a comfortable position. Again, comfort is important, and I can focus on breathing and relaxing into it. This one has a nice 1-2 combo of getting some thoracic extension when you raise the arms overhead, and again, getting that hip extension, opening up the quads and the hip flexors. If you want some full modifications, I recommend checking out the video in the description down below. Like the first 2 relaxed stretches in this routine, this is just about sitting in a position, breathing, relaxing, not necessarily trying to push your max range of motion, but focusing on that stretch feeling going away. But that is basically it. That is the 5 stretches that I can guarantee I will do on pretty much a daily basis. Some days there are some extras when I'm doing training and whatnot, but this is pretty much constant, and I feel it gives a nice, well-rounded, grease in the groove of lots of different patterns. With that being said, this is only my opinion. This is just what I've done over the years. I've kind of found that these ones are the ones that I like and I enjoy, so I thought I'd share them with you. But I'd love to pass the question on to you. Do you have a set few stretches or some stretches that you might add to these 5 that you personally like to do on a daily basis? Let me know in the comments section down below. If you just enjoyed this video, you can also hit the thumbs up button and support the channel. Right next to it is that subscribe button if you want to join the Bodyweight Warrior Tribe. Don't miss out on any more future videos. But that has basically been it for this week, guys. I'll catch you in the next episode. Have a strong week and peace.